Okay, with the trailer dropping just a few hours ago as I'm recording this video, I've had time to collect my thoughts and opinions on the entirety of what we have seen so far, and especially including the second trailer, so no long intros, let's get into my full thoughts. I feel like of everything I've seen so far has made me question so many theories, and it's also made me want to discuss even more that I haven't mentioned before yet, if that makes sense. The first thing I want to talk about is obviously the guy in the chair with a strong ass accent. So in the reveal trailer from a while back, we saw him with just the gramophone on the table. However, in this recent trailer, we see something else, which is the device he was wearing at the end of the trailer. So ultimately, this is what's so weird about this. We don't know what the guy really looks like, obviously, but it makes me question why he's using that. Maybe he's a former doctor or researcher, which lines up with the rumor of him being a former Umbrella employee. Now, the rumors or theories, I should say, have revolved around two people, Oswell Spencer and Brandon Bailey. The Spencer theory has definitely gotten a big boost because if you look below, you see his chest having some sort of scarring or whatever, and it's around the same spot Spencer got impaled by Wesker in RE5. However, it makes you wonder this. If this really is Spencer, how was he resurrected and how was his body found? You'd think the BSA would do something involving it, and who knows what could happen. Maybe they play a role into this game potentially involving this man, and it makes you wonder who got his body. Now, this is definitely obvious, but there is a greater villain in my opinion in the shadows of this game. However, we do not know who that is, and ultimately, I think it may have a lot to do with Raccoon City. Now, if this is Brandon Bailey, a lot of things line up. The file in RE7, the connections communication with Lucas that could have led to Alyssa, it's so much right now. I feel even though we have gotten a reveal, it spawned so many more questions for me. Well, I should say reveal for the second trailer. This cop is definitely the same cop that turns into this zombie, and my YouTuber friend MMDRE mentioned that this may be the first enemy encounter, and you later investigate the hotel where you find this guy, and later on if he says that Grace is the special one, or you can't escape your destiny, they knock her out or wound her in the chest and they transport her to the care center. And that to me itself is a big mystery. How did she go from the hotel to the care center? And also it's really big, like a focal point of what RE9 can be. This place is going to be extremely important. Granted, I think for me personally, despite the hotel being the place where Alyssa died, from a location perspective, it has the smallest duration of time in the RE9, if that makes sense. It's very similar to what the village, castle, and island is with RE4, but I think the hotel is going to be extremely short compared to what the care center in Raccoon City could be. I also have no idea if you go back there to the hotel, which would be interesting to say the bare minimum, and it makes me wonder what is the genuine role for Grace in Raccoon City, because a lot of people are now speculating that the city is going to be where you play as Leon or whoever the second protagonist is, and I will get to Raccoon City very shortly. Now we gotta talk about Alyssa. The theory of her being the Hag is still very active as it should, but again, this trailer has drastically made me question the theory itself. Grace was with her mom when she died and when the hotel burned down. Her throat was completely slit, by the way, and Grace even had blood on her neck, so unfortunately we may see Alyssa have a ton of blood gushing out of her neck, which fucking sucks. How did they recover her body, though? Unless there is something in her that kept her alive, or maybe her body to like be enough to experiment on. And another thing I have to mention is some people have theorized that this hooded figure is this guy, but 8 years later, which in my opinion is a very good, plausible theory. But I don't know, I can't explain too deep because I can't explain, if that makes sense. Back to Alyssa now. We see the Hag in this dress, which makes you wonder if they somehow changed Alyssa into this, which is crazy in itself, but I think her mystery, in my opinion, has gotten bigger. Because if you look at this zombie and this little girl, they seem like patients in this care center. So now it makes me wonder, is this just a failed experiment, an overgrown one that was a patient in this facility, or is it Alyssa? I think the Lisa Trevor theory was good, but it doesn't seem plausible anymore in my opinion, and this is coming from someone who thought the Hag was Lisa in the beginning. But I will say this to cap off this section. What is the care center's purpose? Was this a facility where people were abducted and experimented on? Was it just normal patients that were overran by the virus and they were just unfortunate victims? We don't know yet, and there is something about the Hag that we obviously know about, but the thing is, there is something in a past Resident Evil game that strikes a familiarity with the Hag BOW, and funny enough, it's the T-Phobos virus. Remember when you're Moira and you point your flashlight at the BOWs and they seem harmed from it? It's very similar to the Hag BOW, and you notice they didn't go outside until it was dark. It felt like sunlight was their ultimate weakness or a certain type of light. I'm not saying T-Phobos is back, but let's also consider the face model that made her announcement the day the game got revealed. She looks like an older Natalia. And to keep it 100% real with you guys, I've also heard some other things I will not say that could potentially, be a sequel in a certain way to Revelations 2. It's weird to explain, but trust me, I'm not trying to scam you guys. I even have my suspicions on it too, so it's weird to say the least. Now, another thing I want to speak about is the black book and this bag or whatever that Alyssa stored behind this picture, which was in perfect condition after the fire. I want to know what's inside, and in my opinion, it has something to do with what was going on in Louisiana that led up to her death. Or it has something to do with Raccoon City and what could possibly be going on under the surface, or the organization that was supposedly hunting her and Grace down. It just felt too important to Alyssa, and it feels like she wanted Grace to know about it one day, but hopefully we get to know what's inside very soon. Also, one thing I do have to mention about the Magnum Grace found, I think this is the gun she used to kill the Hag, because we still don't know if she is this unkillable monster, because we had no weapons to fight back, just light if anything. So I think that Magnum in particular is going to be the weapon we use to kill the Hag and possibly her mother, but again, this is another situation where it feels off to me. I don't have the clip exactly, but when the demo ends after you get the fuse, she gets grabbed by the Hag and it whips her into the wall, and Grace is completely immobilized in the dark. How did she escape is my question. Did somebody save her, or did she get a crazy adrenaline rush to escape last second? I genuinely have no idea whatsoever. I said previously that this second trailer, that's what Capcom was calling it, showed nothing of Raccoon City. So now I have many questions involving how these events in the hotel and the care center connect to the city, and what does it have to do with the hidden truth behind the outbreak. We saw the Umbrella logo, so they may be trying to come back, especially with this unknown former employee or researcher. I also think Tokyo Game Show is either going to do one of two things. First one is, they're going to reveal something extremely big, and that to me is the Raccoon City trailer. Because we've had major showcasing of the hotel and the care center, and it seems to me they will do one of two things again. First one is, they will reveal who the second protagonist is, and it will more than likely happen in Raccoon City. Because like I said, Grace doesn't feel like the only one that will get a Requiem. Like the story synopsis said, will this be the Requiem that finally lays that abhorrent disaster to rest and its memories? There's definitely more characters at play here. Maybe ones we are familiar with, we have no idea who exactly they will be right now. The second thing they could do is market the hell out of a Resident Evil showcase, and it fits because the 30th anniversary is coming up, and if you can tell, Capcom is making it a very, very big deal. And now the second thing that I mentioned with the second protagonist is showing some form of gunplay / gameplay of Grace shooting enemies. That's the one thing Capcom should show first, to be honest with you, and another is this. There are no pre-orders out yet involving this game, there isn't a collector's edition, and funny enough, there isn't an official box art yet, physically. So now we're wondering, when is it going to be revealed, and also, why have they not revealed it yet? The two trailers and the gameplay trailer showed a lot of things that is more than likely the first hour or two of RE Requiem. This third trailer, I firmly believe, will reveal the absolute most involved in this game. And I mean Raccoon City exploration, maybe the actual face of the guy in the chair, the second protagonist, whoever it could be, and genuinely much more. Now, where could it happen? We know Tokyo Game Show is happening in a few weeks. Another thing is, despite there being a state of play that revolved around the new James Bond game recently this month, are rumors about another one happening at the end of the month. Before or after Tokyo Game Show, I don't know. But I do believe if we don't get anything this month, we will more than likely have to wait for the Game Awards. Unless again, Capcom announces an RE showcase or just a Capcom showcase in general. And now the last thing I want to talk about before I close this video off, there was this t-shirt going around the internet that had this big description involving RE9, and some people found out what it said. And some things I believe on that shirt was written in a different language, and it was possibly Greek. I could be wrong, however. There is something I will tell you guys that makes things very interesting to say the least, and this is it. The lockdown on Raccoon City was originally supposed to last until 2026, which is close to RE9's timeline events. However, the government extended it until 2040 under the guise of safety concerns. This in itself is another cover-up by the government, to prevent the public from knowing what is really happening in the city at the present time, and so that no one would know the government's true intentions from locking down the city continuously. The reality is there is actually no safety concerns, since the missile used to sanitize the city in 1998 was a thermobaric missile, not a nuclear one. This means there are no nuclear or radioactive hazards present in the city. After the incident, the government and Congress continued investigating and studying the city for 7 years. A government research station was built in its ruins to collect samples of the T-virus. And like I said in previous videos, in case if you guys want to be informed again, Umbrella researchers were there collecting samples of the T-virus like I just said. And when Umbrella was shut down, that building wasn't shut down or destroyed or anything like that because it was owned by the US government. It wasn't owned by Umbrella. So it basically means even with Umbrella being shut down, they can still go back there and still work on what they wanted to do because that facility was owned by the government. Now think about this, 30 years of experimentation or gathering a ton of samples of whatever viruses that have been going around. Most likely the T virus, but you get what I mean. It's kind of scary to think about. For 30 years, the government exploited Raccoon City to serve its own agenda. In RE9, we will enter the city while it is still under lockdown. And finally, after nearly 30 years, the victims of what happened in Raccoon City may finally get the justice they have wanted for so long. And we may get closure on people's stories that we have enjoyed and been a part of for decades. Now, that's not exactly what the shirt said, but in a summary, that's pretty much kind of hinting at that. Let me know in the comments on what you guys think entirely with the new trailer. What's your biggest takeaway? How excited are you for Requiem? Are you looking forward to the next trailer that could reveal something even bigger? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like on it to help it reach the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the near future, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Peace out, and much love.